Hey animal enthusiasts and pet hobbyists, it's Joel here again, and this is my new peppermint shrimp named Tails. Alright guys, so I'm also going to be giving you a little update on my saltwater aquarium because it's been a while. I think last time I did a video about it was when I got the Hawaiian feather duster. But yeah, so for now, this is my new peppermint shrimp named Tails. And you might be telling yourself, you know, I'm crazy for adding a peppermint shrimp to a soft coral dominated reef tank. But so far, this guy or girl has been doing pretty well. I mean, it hasn't been nipping at any of the tissue. And I think one reason for that is because I've been feeding it. So this is kind of like a little experiment to test out if peppermint shrimp do eat soft corals if they're kept fed. So because this shrimp is going to be the star of this aquarium in terms of inhabitant, I'm going to be giving this guy daily feedings to make sure that it doesn't want to harm any of the other corals. But yeah, so mainly people will buy these guys just so that they could wipe out any aptasia problems, but they soon learn after that once the aptasia problem is out, they'll start going after their coral. But yeah, that can happen. And there's also other people say they have experienced times where there are good peppermint shrimp and there are bad peppermint shrimp, where the good ones, they'll just eat detritus, leftover food, organics, things like that. And then there's the bad peppermints where they'll just eat other corals, stress them out, and just create more problems in the tank than you wanted. So I think what I got lucky, and this is a good peppermint shrimp. And yeah, so this is the only one I have in here. It's the star of the tank. You can see that. And I really like it because you can see I had these caves in here and they were just really, nobody goes in there. They're just really empty. But this guy, it's nocturnal, so it likes to go in darker places and it'll hide inside there and fill it up and make it look really nice. And that's what I really like about it. I've been feeding it mysis shrimp. These guys, he'll go like crazy for mysis shrimp. And yeah, so the first day I got it, I was actually keeping an eye on it to make sure that it doesn't try to kill any of the other corals at night, because these guys are nocturnal. So like at 1 and I think it was 3 in the morning, I just got up, took my phone with my flashlight, looked in the tank, and he was just all around the walls of the tank, not touching any of the corals, so that was good. The thing is though about him is that you can see those really long antennae. They like to sometimes touch other corals, like this little Gorgonian frag that I have right here. Right now it's not really stressing it out, but every now and then it will touch it, and it does somewhat stress it out, sorry, but it's not to the point where it could potentially die, I don't think. But I'm just keeping an eye on it, and for now it's doing really well in terms of aggression and compatibility. Another thing is that some pet stores or fish stores will label these guys as camel shrimp, and camel shrimp can be potentially not reef safe. Usually the differences are camel shrimp are a little bit darker red, peppermint shrimp are a little bit more clear, although they are still red. But yeah, you should try to identify them before you make the purchase, because that would save your livestock in the future. But yeah, alright, so moving on to my invertebrates and coral, I'm gonna start with my Gorgonian because I haven't talked about it in past videos. So this is a spiny photosynthetic Gorgonian. I'm not even sure what specific species it is. I just know that it's photosynthetic, and it's literally been this same size frag for the past 2 months. Like, Gorgonians are such slow growers. If you don't know much about them, it's known that they are really slow at growing. But yeah, its polyps are always open. I really love it. It makes it look like there's something growing out of the rock right here, so I really like that. I like to feed it some phyto and zooplankton every now and then. But yeah, so it's just right here. It really loves the flow. I put it right in front of the hang on back filter so that the flow will hit it, and it's pretty strong right here, and it just loves that. Alright, so these are my two macroalgae. This is Bryothamnion red razor macroalgae, and this is Caulerpa prolifera. And the main reason I got them is because they are essentially nutrient exports. They use all the nitrates and phosphates from the water, and they are desirable compared to other nuisance algae that will grow. And I really like the way these two look. The Caulerpa prolifera, the cool thing about it is that it's all a single cell growing by using the phosphates and nitrates. And the red razor looks sort of like a Gorgonian, I think, and it just really looks nice and adds biodiversity to the aquarium. And that's mainly why I got it. And also because this is a nano tank and nitrates and phosphates do increase prolifically throughout the week. And it just makes everything a lot more easier when it comes to making sure all the other corals are happy in terms of water quality. So yeah, those are them. The red razor macroalgae, it is a red algae, so it kind of it could do really good in deeper areas of the tank where there's not much light. But it seems to like it up here too. And I got them so that they could compete with the cyanobacteria and diatoms that I have in this tank, because they are sort of making the tank look a little bit nasty. But yeah, I was also thinking about adding some like red dragon's breath macroalgae on this side of the tank so that it could grow right here and look really nice. But yeah, maybe in the future I might do that. Right here, this is just another mushroom coral that I got. I don't think I told you guys about it, but I just, see all this cyanobacteria growth, I have to stir up the sand bed every day, and I want this mushroom coral to sort of cover some of the sand so that it could block out the light and essentially compete for light. And it hasn't been stinging any of the waving hand clavularia or the zoanthids. It's been doing pretty well right here, and I think it looks pretty good, I'd say. And then here are my feather dusters. So for some reason a while ago, my feather dusters, my dwarf feather duster and my Hawaiian feather duster, they both lost their crowns for some reason. I think that it's because they didn't have a lot of food maybe, but that's really weird because this tank is a high nitrate or a high nutrient tank, and like I dose phytoplankton a couple times a week, so like that shouldn't be a problem. This one thing that happened, I think the reason for why my Hawaiian feather duster actually shed its crown was because my hermit crabby, I moved him to another tank now, but he like ripped up the tube for my Hawaiian feather duster, and I had to cover the bottom of it with sand so that it could survive. But the crown was lost. I hadn't seen it for like 2 weeks until it grew a new one. I'm just happy it's still alive. So I'm gonna hope that with the trace elements that I dose and the phytoplankton and the detritus from the water, it could use that to help grow its crown again. Now for the dwarf feather duster, I have no idea why. It might have been because of lack of food, so I'm giving it some more food now. But yeah, the weird thing was that it didn't happen to my green feather duster right here. This guy's doing quite well. I really like it. I'm thinking about making this like a little feather duster island and putting like a purple feather duster right here. And I think that would be pretty nice. I just hope that they don't compete each other for phytoplankton or other food, as long as I dose a lot for them and watch the water quality. But yeah, so that's pretty much my feather dusters. I don't think I ever showed you guys this one. Moving on, so this is my green star polyps. I'm going to retry them, and they seem like they're doing really well. I remember the first time I tried out green star polyps, they didn't make it for some reason. I think it was because there was a little aptasia growing on it, but that was pretty unlikely. I think also it might have been because of water quality. It was also pretty early in the years of this tank, and it probably wasn't well established yet. But yeah, so essentially what I'm trying to do, I put it up against this wall, and I wanted to cover this whole wall up here, and I think that would look really nice. Lastly, my last coral, this is my Duncan's coral. For some reason, part of it isn't open right now, but it usually is open and looks really nice. And I got a pretty good deal on it. Usually these guys go for like $30, but I bought it for only like $8. And I think it looks really well. And this is my first ever LPS coral. And I've been dosing calcium, making sure that it has enough calcium to build its calcium carbonate structure. I've also been feeding it some mysis shrimp. You can see there's some other heads growing on the back of it. There's only 2 of them. I'm hoping that it'll start growing pretty large in the future. And last time I showed my tank, I didn't have these 2 rocks right here. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to have some more places where I could stack other corals. And you know, with the only rocks that were right here, I couldn't put as much corals on it. But now with this, I think I could do a lot more up there too. So I already cured them. But now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to turn them more live. As you can see, there's some diatoms growing on them, and that's perfectly normal. That's healthy. That's what's supposed to start. And then you'll soon see the green algae growing on it, and then in the future, if you dose enough calcium, then you'll start getting the purple like this. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to do. So for the rock that I'm trying to turn live, I'm going to be using Purple Tech, and Purple Tech is just a solution of calcium, magnesium, strontium, and it'll help the growth of calcareous algae such as coralline algae, but it'll also be good for stony corals such as LPS and SPS. So yeah, this is my main form of calcium, but I'm also mainly using it so that it'll grow coralline on the rock. So yeah. Every now and then I also dose C-Lab NO28, and this is just like a replenisher cube that you drop into the water, into the tank, and then it will just dissolve and replenish all the trace elements that you need. It also helps raise pH and keep your alkalinity good, so I really like it. Alright, so when it comes to feeding, I like to use mysis shrimp. For my past videos, I used to give brine shrimp, but now I realize I learned that mysis shrimp are a lot more nutritious and they're better for your animals. So yeah, what I like to do is I just get a cube, I cut a little part of it off, then I leave the rest in the bag in the freezer just so I don't waste any of it. And then I put it in a cup, and I use a turkey baster to get the mysis particles, and then I feed it directly to the coral or to my peppermint shrimp. And yeah, so they love spot feeding, especially my peppermint shrimp. He'll go crazy after it. And yeah, that's as far as feeding goes. Of course, you don't want to overfeed because that can cause an ammonia spike. In the future video, I'll actually show you guys how I do water changes. But I also wanted to talk about something. So in the past, I actually had this little blue-green chromis in here that I named CL. And CL was, I mainly had him or her in here so that I could keep something in the nitrogen cycle, so that there could be some sort of bioload. But the thing about that was that the poor blue-green chromis, they like to be kept in schools. And in here it was like pretty small, and I didn't have any other fish for it to communicate with besides my old hermit crab that I just moved. And yeah, so I just thought that I would give him a better home, so I don't have him anymore. But yeah, so that was just something I wanted to say. As I thought I would just give that update. The Duncan is opened up now. So that's Tails, my new peppermint shrimp. I'm gonna be giving you some more updates in the future and see how it goes with the peppermint shrimp and see if he eats any of the softies. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.